Alright, ChatGPT, I need you to write Despicable Me 7. Needs minions and Gru and some fart jokes. Okay, go. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the plot of Despicable Me 7 is Gru has a half-cousin named Blue who wants to set up a communist regime in Malaysia, and Gru needs to pretend to be the CIA in order to overthrow them. Alright, perfect. Hey, also, how did the Diddy Kong movie sell? Pretty good, but not as good as the Piranha Plant movie starring Tom Holland. Listen, if you told me 15 years ago that Illumination, who just created the first Despicable Me movie, would absolutely rip the children's animation market away from Disney's animation studios, not counting Pixar, I think you're goddamn insane. And yet here we are, a pandemic later, Strange World lost Disney $200 million, Wish is just comically hated on, and at this point, once they run out of live-action remakes, they're kind of screwed. And listen, movies are a business. They're about making money. Those poor executive producers gotta put groceries on the table. I get it. But, they could maybe be a little more subtle about it. Just a little. So I watched Despicable Me 3 and 4 recently, and it actually kind of baffles me how unfunny they were compared to the original. I didn't exactly go in with monumental expectations, and I understand I'm like 15 years above their age range. But it took Despicable Me 4 17 and a half minutes to make me laugh. And it was when Margot got her secret agent name and said,
"My name is Bree?"
I don't even know why, I just thought that was funny. And the reason I say these movies are AI generated isn't necessarily because I think they're awful or irredeemable. You can do a lot worse than this. No. The reason is because the characters just run around and do stuff. It's the level to which I think ChatGPT would understand what a story is. I think every Despicable Me movie since the first has a fundamental misunderstanding on why the original was funny. Would you believe me if I said you could write Gru's brother out of the third movie? Because he doesn't actually do much plot relevant. He's more of a side plot than anything. He tags along for the adventure. He causes trouble. The trouble is immediately resolved with a, "I'm sorry, okay, I forgive you." And his character arc is done. I'm convinced they just typed into a chatbot, make a movie where Gru has a brother, and they fight a bad guy. And this is what it generated. Because those two plot lines are not well intertwined. They just both happen. In the first movie, the non-Minions comedy, yeah, can you believe that, came from the contrast between Gru and his daughters. He was a stuck-up, selfish villain. They were innocent goofballs. There was a character dynamic. And the story was resolving that conflict. But ever since Gru turned good, that conflict is gone. The whole point of the story is gone. These movies feel like after you finish a video game, but there's still some bosses left to fight, you're not progressing the main story. You're just running around with your head cut off fighting people. So now he's just more or less a superhero with a funny voice. His entire design is meant to be malicious. It doesn't work when Gru isn't being selfish or brooding or serious. So this constantly leaves me asking, what is the joke? I feel like a robot, when asked what makes a joke funny, would give a response like, "Oh, the weird noise or the big loud voice makes it funny." Listen. I'm not saying Dart Gun, not Fart Gun, was the pinnacle of human comedy, but it was pretty close, okay? It had a setup and a punchline. It was an actual joke. And pretty funny when I was 8 years old too. I feel like in Despicable Me 3 and 4, the Minions just do loud stuff and they call that comedy. And to be honest, I think the Minions movies, while mediocre, are more successful because they try harder to create visual comedy rather than just loud white noise. Illumination realized, hey, we can do the Minion equivalent of dangling keys in front of a 1-year-old and our audience will be on the edge of their seat. Hell, in Despicable Me 4, they reuse the exact same joke from the second movie, where the Minions hear Lamb's Bottom's name and go, "Bottom." They didn't even ask ChatGPT to rewrite the joke. That's just the same joke. Again, not asking for Shakespeare, but you can't just Control-C, Control-V the lines. The one exception to most of my criticism is the Mario movie. It's not a masterpiece, but I could sense a lot more effort in almost every aspect of the film. Visuals, writing, performance. And I'm starting to think a lot of that was Nintendo being a control freak about their precious Mario franchise. So just to let it be known, if Illumination actually tries, they have it in them. That's what upsets me. Illumination's art style usually looks like the clean, AI-generated art style from those image generators, you know what I'm saying? And they lack personality. It's wild to me that they could have such a broader color palette, deeper textures, more dynamic action scenes if they just put their A game to it. But they simply don't need to because their main franchise makes a silly amount of money. Like, guys, I know I was making a joke in the intro to this video, but there's really no reason there shouldn't be at least 7 of these movies. So, unfortunately, I don't think any of my thoughts will reach the hearts of those poor executive producers in Hollywood. But hey, is what it is. Creativity doesn't win every time. Nothing you can do about it. But thanks for listening anyway. Subscribe, bell notification, please, thank you. And bye.